Hey guys, I just wanted to make a video and talk about things that have helped me have better trips on psychedelics, mostly LSD and mushrooms. So hopefully you can find something useful here that you can apply in your trips. First thing is having a strong foundation of meditation, and specifically shamatha meditation, which is basically focusing on a single thing, and it's usually the breath. That's the one I recommend you start with. And the reason why this is important is psychedelic trips can be very intense, and having a trained mind that is able to focus and stay with difficult emotions can be the difference between having a terrible trip and like a positive one. Because when you teach your brain to stay with the breath for long periods, it does a number of things, one of which is it sharpens your mind and allows you to notice whatever is going on. The other is, again, it allows you to sit with these difficult emotions that are most likely going to come up when you take psychedelics. And this is a very important point because it's happened to me a number of times where I resist these emotions. I don't accept them and I try to fight them, and it just takes the trip down a very, let's say, very unpleasant path. And ever since I've worked on my meditation and realized that I can just allow just remind yourself, if you've taken psychedelics and you're going through some difficult emotions, just remember that sooner or later it's just a matter of time and they will pass, no matter what it is. The next tip I have is to clean your space. If you're gonna do it in your room, clean your room. Sounds like a very obvious and simple piece of advice, but it makes a big difference, because these substances can expand your perception and make you perceive, like I would notice very small particles of dust or whatever in my room, and this is probably affecting me in my waking, when I'm sober, but it's taking psychedelics made me realize that this always has an effect on me. So I haven't explained that the best way, but I think you know what I mean. The next piece of advice is to set an intention. I'll give you an example. In my last trip, I set an intention that I wanted to figure out why am I so tense around people. And I did receive an answer. I saw and I experienced and I perceived how there's rigidity around my ego and identity, and that I take those things too seriously, and this causes me to tense up around people. But if you don't like that kind of intention, you can set your own. You can do it in a manner of a prayer, or just like feel it in your heart, or whatever way that feels right to you. I'll give you an example. If you don't have one, you can just say, what am I not perceiving that I need to be more aware of to grow? You can try that if you can't think of anything. The next piece of advice is a small one, but I like to do it, which is to light up candles and incense of smells that I like. And this serves as another anchor besides the breath to come back to whenever things get too difficult or you need a break. Especially the candle, like this, the incense is for the smell aspect of it, just to have something comforting and nice throughout the trip. And the candle, so the way I like to trip is just lay in bed with like a sleep mask and just experience the inner. And sometimes things get difficult, so I want to take a break. I'd remove my mask and just look at the candle, and it's comforting seeing a light just sitting there. It's hard to explain. But if candles or incense isn't your thing, you can... The point of this is to have some sort of ritual around your space, whatever that means to you. I encourage you to experiment with this. It can help. The next tip is a very important one, which is dosage. If you have no experience with psychedelics, I highly recommend you start out small. For shrooms, that might mean somewhere between half a gram to a gram at most. And then as you get more and more experience with your inner space, I say inner space, and by that I mean, the way I see it, psychedelics connect my conscious mind with the subconscious mind. And why dosage is so important is like the higher you go up, the more of your subconscious you're gonna get exposed to. And if you're unfamiliar with this, you might not know what you encounter. You might be surprised of what you see. And this is how people have bad trips or fucking psychosis. And like, we don't want that. So just take it easy, start out small, and slowly work up your dosage as you gain more and more experience with the psychedelic experience and with your meditative practices. The next piece of advice goes hand in hand with the dosage, and it's to have a trip sitter. And someone who would make a good trip sitter is someone who has experience with psychedelics, and is someone you trust, you deeply trust. These are, I think, very important aspects, especially the second one. And they don't have to sit with you in the room. They can just sit outside if you feel more comfortable that way. So like whenever things get too intense, you can just go out and talk to them, and they can make sure that you're doing well. The next piece of advice is to have blindfolds or very dim lights in the room. And this is because if you really want to dive deep and gain intangible insights, it helps to have blindfolds or a face mask, not a face mask, a sleeping mask, to just reduce the outer stimuli, and then you can just focus on the inner, on what's going on in the inner. The last piece of advice I have for now is to take the psychedelics on an empty stomach. Trust me, this just makes it more pleasant. It makes the come sooner. Like, it doesn't extend the trip, if that makes sense. Because if you're... Yeah, thank you. You know what I mean. Just take it on an empty stomach, trust me. water is fine. Or if you want to just have like a very small snack that's not heavy on the stomach, I think that's okay. And diet as well. If you're eating a lot of junk food and processed food, that's gonna have an effect on your trip. So I recommend at least a few days to a week before the trip to clean up your diet a little bit. And by that I mean just have a balanced diet of... Some people advocate eating just vegan or vegetarian food. I don't do that, and I haven't experimented with that, so maybe there's something to that, but just eat clean food immediately before the trip or the few days before that. And I think for now that's all I have. If I think of more things, I'll make another video about this. But yeah, hopefully you can take some useful information out of this. Peace.